Devin Pike with the Dallas International Film Festival here with the director and producer of Blur, one of the great shorts in our live action shorts block. It's good to see you guys here again because we saw you for Raspberry Jam, your last collaboration together.
Yep.
Welcome back to Diff, and obviously welcome back to Dallas, local ladies, and thank you very much for bringing the short to us.
Yeah, it's exciting to be here.
Talk a little bit about your collaboration first off. As I said, not your first film together. You're working on a feature film together as well. I'm curious what makes a good relationship between a director and a producer, because Lord knows I've had many different experiences, both positive and negative. So,
yeah. Well, I think it's one of the things that's great about our relationship is that we're friends as well as like working partners. And so as a producer, Meredith is really great at being able to translate what I'm trying to say to normal people. And so she really is someone that I lean on very heavily as far as on the producing side. And so we tried out this whole idea of me directing and her producing on Raspberry Jam, and it was great. And so we decided to keep moving forward and do some more projects. So I don't know. Would you agree?
I would totally agree. And we complement each other really well. So strengths and weaknesses wise, we sort of just fill in the gaps. And I think that's part of what makes a really good team in any endeavor is like having those strengths to support one another. So, yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you juggle various projects, because you're not just working with Courtney. You worked on Ain't the Body Saints earlier in the year. You have a stable of directors whom you help their projects get through fruition. Mm-hmm. In your brain, is it difficult to actually make that distinction? It's like where you're not torn in 19 different directions.
Yeah, I was actually just briefly on Ain't the Body Saints for their reshoots, but I worked with Shane Carruth last year. And it is interesting to work with completely different directors, and they have completely different styles. And that is one of the really important things as a producer, I think, to be able to adapt, be very adaptable, and figure out, like, just dive in and figure out what does this particular director need from me? So how do they work? What's the best setup for them? And then how can I support them in that and make the environment exactly what they need in order to do the very best that they can. So.
And I'm not going to ask you the obvious question of what does a producer do, because that would be this interview plus another 3
Project
more
management.
After.
Yeah, that's how I sum it up.
Yes.
Craft services.
Yes. Driver.
Let's talk about Blur, an artist who finds herself getting lost within her own work. Talk a little bit about the genesis of the script and how you got it to the screen.
Yeah. Well, in the past with Raspberry Jam and some of my other projects, I typically have taken other people's scripts and turned them into films, whether directing or producing. And so for me, this was a very personal project in that it was one that I wanted to write. And so my struggles with sort of figuring out who I am as a creative artist, as a storyteller, is very reflective in sort of her journey. And so for me, the script sort of came out of my own need to kind of figure out who I am and what I'm doing when it comes to sort of storytelling and filmmaking, like I said. So yeah, it just sort of vomited onto the page, and then Meredith and we went through some. I mentioned translating earlier, and so Meredith was very key in taking some of my dialogue and helping translate sort of my own feelings into it to make it make sense as far as dialogue goes. So yeah, and then I actually started a writers group for female filmmakers, female writers. And so the genesis of actually writing it kind of happened in that short film group. And so it was really exciting. I got to work with a bunch of different writers that, for most of us, it was our first film to write. And so we all sort of bumbled through that and made it on the other side with the script. So yeah, it was very fulfilling, to say the least.
Talk a little bit about your lead in the short. Jenny's a very expressive actress, and I'm curious how you came to have her in the cast.
Yeah, we have worked with a ton of actors and actresses around here, and we sort of wanted to branch out and try and see some of the other talent. And so we actually held open auditions. Jenny lived in Austin at the time, and so she sent in hers. And without tapes are so hard because you're not in the room and you can't get direction or anything. And she pretty much nailed it in her video. And for me, and I think for a lot of directors, what you see in your actor's eyes are one of the most important things. And so, yeah, I sort of kind of leaned into her performance, and we went from there. She was great. So we have those real close shots of her face that says so much without saying anything at all. And so we knew we needed an actress who could sort of portray that.
When Courtney handed you the script and you guys are working on how you're going to lay it out, and you're looking at the transformation into the visuals, were you looking at saying, we got a micro budget, how are we going to be able to shoot this practically?
We knew we needed a really good team that cared about the project and that was creative and was going to be able to sort of, even Jeff, the male lead in it, talking yesterday about his audition and everything, it's pretty complicated script. And so even just finding people that could really grab hold of the vision and see it and interpret it well and creatively, and then just passionately, do that pull-out take 15 times, because that's how many it took, They're willing to work really hard and for very little. So we're grateful for our team for sure.
Very much so.
What lessons did you learn on Blur that you'll be able to take into the feature that you're working on?
It's terrifying to write. So it's absolutely terrifying. And I always used to say, well, if your film's bad, you just blame the writer. And so, so for me, taking on this whole thing of actually writing it and then bringing it to existence was absolutely terrifying. And so I think some of the biggest lessons that I learned were just in trusting yourself, kind of trusting that what you're trying to say hopefully makes sense and is, writing is in a way bearing your soul. And so you have to kind of jump and expect that some people may not accept it and some people may not understand it. Some people may hate it. And then hopefully some people will really love it. So for me, it was definitely, trusting the words that I had written. And then, as we were trying to turn it into film, that whole process was something that I will forever take with me. So,
what are you looking to do with the short once it finishes its festival run? Are you looking to just release it into the wild? Is there a talk of maybe getting into a compilation? What are you looking to do with the film?
I'd love to get it into a compilation, but I think when we first initially spoke about it, our goal was to have this film exist. And so for me, once we make the run, the festival circuit, I'd love to just kind of put it out there, upload it on Vimeo or something along those lines and just be able to share it with people. So.
Well, again, congratulations on a really inventive short, and
Thank you.
It's always great seeing. It's weird. You consider them friends because every person who makes a film in this festival has their own horror story to tell, their own success, and it is a success story. Films aren't released; they escape. So, congratulations on another escape, you guys.
Thank you.
You can find out more about Blur at dallasfilm.org, as well as the rest of the films in the festival and our alumni films as well. And go catch the Shorts Block if you've not done so yet. Short filmmakers are some of the most creative and inspiring people. When I say creative, you find ways to stretch a dollar that you never thought possible otherwise.
No.
Enjoy your red carpet, guys, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.